Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Joyce Dennison, Director of Product Solutions at BTQ Financial. I've been with BTQ for over 7 years now, with a primary focus on creating offerings that meet our clients' needs. Presenting with me today is Michael with Sage Intacct, and I'll pass it off to you, Michael, for further introduction.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. Michael Blanton, as Joyce said, I'm with Sage and we're partnered to BTQ. I actually head up our marketing for nonprofits and public sector organizations. I've been at Sage for a little bit of time now, but working with nonprofits in particular for many years as it relates to their financial technology.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. All right, before we start, I want to introduce you to BTQ and give you a little more information about our organization. So BTQ has been servicing nonprofits for over 30 years. We offer a broad range of finance and accounting services and expertise across various nonprofit sectors, including organizations that are primarily privately funded, as well as those that rely mostly on public funding. Currently, we provide full F&A services for over 70 organizations through our technology platform and a team of over 200 staff members. Most of our clients have been with us for over 5 years, which is a testament to our strength and consistency, as well as our strong partnerships with our clients. We manage fiscal and accounting services for over $1 billion in combined funding. And on this slide here, you'll see a few of the nonprofits that we support today. So with that, I'm going to go to our agenda, let you know what we'll be covering. So we're going to go through the nonprofit finance landscape. We'll talk through the case of modernization. We'll cover the benefits of cloud accounting, the strategic advantage of finance as a service, or FaaS, as we call it. And then I'll go through a case study of a client of ours and how we were able to improve their financial management. We'll end with key takeaways, and then we're going to reserve a few minutes for Q&A. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to Michael to talk about the nonprofit finance landscape.
Yeah, thanks, Joyce. So, it's been an interesting year for nonprofits. So hopefully, I can't see everybody, but hopefully there's some heads shaking out there. And as I mentioned, I've been working with nonprofit finance teams for a long time. I would say there hasn't been this much change, that I can remember that nonprofit finance teams have to adapt to outside of a global pandemic. That would be the one exception, that happened a few years ago. But if you look at the headlines that nonprofits are dealing with this year, it's largely been about the amount of massive change that's happening in our federal government, how they're interacting with their constituents, and in particular how they're funding their grant programs, which continues to be a changing topic. And then also, unrelated to that to some extent, AI and how all of us are kind of thinking about that in our personal lives and then in our organizations about what does this mean for us? What does it mean for our teams? How can we, best adopt it in responsible ways, or at least contend with it? And while those headlines have been really interesting, what people often forget when I'm talking about nonprofits this year is that we entered 2025 with a lot of interesting dynamics and challenges. So inflation was something that post-COVID finance teams have been struggling to figure out how to best manage for some time. So the rising cost of delivering programs, the rising need to deliver services in your community for most, service-based nonprofits, that has been a trend that it has no sign of stopping. So continuing to meet a rising need. And then maybe most pointedly for the finance and administrative staff is staffing. So how are you continuing to go out and fill your roles, retain the right talent, and then recruit that talent? And as you can see by some of the stats that are happening here, showing on the page from some of the research that Sage and BTQ have done, these are pretty pervasive challenges. So 66% of organizations citing budget constraints holding them back from retaining and pursuing the right candidates. So lots of different change and dynamics that nonprofit finance is dealing with. And if you're with us here today, you're either pursuing how to address these challenges through better technology, or through maybe considering, finance as a service And we think that's absolutely right. I think we moved from a paradigm, as it says on the page here, of, why can we pursue this luxury thing called technology investment, to the reality is, how do we survive if we don't pursue modern technology to support our mission in light of all these challenges? So one of the things we talk a lot about at Sage, and in some of our research with our partners, we've done a survey every year for the last 5 years with nonprofit finance teams, and we always ask them, like, what are the challenges, the internal process challenges that you're continuing to deal with on a year-to-year basis? And for the most part, we get the answers shown back on the slide here at the top. So 4 main challenges that finance teams cite that they struggle to deal with in their operations: insufficient process automation and just overall efficiency; manual time-consuming reporting that's eating up too much of your time to produce reports that maybe aren't strategic, but maybe just more statutory or just regular day-to-day activities; insufficient, disparate systems; and then lack of visibility into key metrics. And of these 4 metrics, they have remained the top 4 challenges to nonprofits, at least in our research, for the last 5 years. And what has been the interesting trend to watch is that it really hasn't changed that much. These are the same problems that finance teams continue to struggle with, and continue to need more technology and more process to advance forward for their organizations. So 72% of nonprofits struggling with that turnover element, which I think plays into some of the process challenges highlighted on the page. I mentioned staffing. So these are hard stats that kind of are in support of some of these ongoing challenges that are listed on the page. And then 36% experiencing cash flow issues, which will probably resonate with many of you right now if you have grant funding or are dependent on funds from the federal government, which is currently on hold in many ways. So these are a lot of the things that modern technology can help improve for nonprofit finance teams. So before we get into what Joyce is going to cover in terms of finance as a service, one of the elements of that service is using the right technology to advantage you as a potential client for BTQ. And when we think about cloud software these days, that's probably not a new concept for most of you. And I would say a lot of the benefits on this page, you could also use the term just modern accounting software. So do you have modern accounting technology that is set up for your advantage in your organization today? And cloud has really become the most popular adopted method. There are many ways to access cloud, with which Joyce will talk about, but some of the reasons it's become so popular are shown here. So when you think about the cost of taking advantage of technologies, depending on the model that you're going to acquire that cloud technology, on average, it's a lot cheaper and makes a lot more sense for your organization than managing that technology yourself. And by that, I mean having an on-premise application that your IT teams are managing today. Security continues to be an escalating issue. The cyber threats that we all face, and finance teams in particular face from external threats, continue to get more advanced. So when you adopt cloud technology, whether it's directly or through a partner, you are tapping into the technology expertise and security that is put forward by software vendors who serve thousands and thousands of customers, like Sage, for example. Remote access to systems provides so much flexibility. This became a non-starter for most organizations during the pandemic. And so we saw a lot of movement to cloud systems at that time. And then always staying current, which I think is probably the biggest one for me right now, because to stay current on technology these days means that you are really keeping up with rapid pace. And so for things like AI, how do you take advantage of that as an organization? Well, largely you need to be tapping into that as a service, because vendors have their own challenges keeping pace with the amount of technology and how it's advancing. And then finally, when you are adopting cloud software, you get the benefits of being able to integrate your financial stack into other software systems that inform your ledgers and reporting in a more sophisticated and automated way, which is a huge benefit for nonprofit organizations.
Thanks, Michael. So kind of moving into the key features of cloud-based accounting. So at BTQ, we selected Sage Intacct as our core general ledger platform because it is the leading solution in nonprofit accounting, and it's designed specifically to meet the unique needs of nonprofit organizations. So some of the key features that make it powerful include automated financial reporting, which BTQ customizes. So we set this up for our clients as clients transition onto our services. We're bringing in Sage Intacct. Although we've selected Sage Intacct as our GL, we're also experts in setting up the system, and we know the ins and outs of the flexibility within the platform. We have provided dashboards for our clients. Sage Intacct includes grant management and fund tracking, which allows our clients to stay compliant and provide donor reporting. We support multi-entity organizations as well as the consolidation. I'd say one of the key needs of nonprofits is that budgeting and forecasting process. And we partner with our clients through our FaaS offering to build out their budgets, to meet with their program directors, to get in the weeds of the organization and make sure we're all aligned for the upcoming year's goals. We'll then load that into Sage Intacct, and we're able to provide actuals versus budget, as well as actuals versus forecast. Another great feature of Sage Intacct is that AI piece, that artificial intelligence that allows our team to work more efficiently, and that your company would essentially take advantage of through the FaaS offering. So let's talk about moving to the cloud and the challenges that brings. So we have seen clients try to move to the cloud on their own, and there are some challenges to that. I'd say the most critical one is the long implementation period. Many nonprofits struggle with the long, costly software rollout. BTQ removes that burden by providing a ready-to-go environment. So we have a dedicated dedicated onboarding team that onboards our nonprofit organizations day in and day out. So we bring that expertise and we bring in the best in class practices to the organizations that we support. So we eliminate that long implementation time. We're able to get our clients up and running between 60 and 90 days. Another key benefit of moving over to FaaS is it eliminates the need to search for the right software. There's a lot of different software on the market. Really getting to the weeds of which one is the right fit for your organization can be daunting. We've done our due diligence, right? We support over 70 organizations, and so we have selected the technology combination that supports nonprofits well. Another burden is usually hiring a third party to help your internal team implement the software. And the beauty of FaaS is that we bring that to you, bring the setup, the customization, and we do that full lift for your organization. And that is a huge lift for your internal team. And I want to take that just one step further to show you kind of the side-by-side view of what it takes to do this on your own, kind of the traditional ERP setup versus going with a provider like BTQ who offers a full finance as a service solution. So typically it takes nonprofit organizations from 6 to 18 months to deploy software. It is custom built, meaning your team is taking the time to get in the weeds of what they need, how to build it. Does this module make sense for our organization? You're usually also hiring a third party to come in and support your team. The cost can be high, it can be variable. A lot of your team's time is needed to build it out, and the flexibility isn't always there. So under the FaaS solution, we come in with a pre-integrated solution. We bring the basic needs for your organization, then we customize it further for your needs. We have a full team that does this day in and day out, and we have a fixed cost that is very transparent to our clients. We have high customization because we're experts in the system. Like I said, we do this so frequently that we are experts in the advanced modules, the dimensionality, and can bring that customization to your organization. So moving into the strategic advantage of FaaS. So FaaS brings technology, the people, and the processes. So this is your full F&A function. This gets rid of the need to constantly find the right skill set in the F&A function, the constant need to hire and retain staff, as well as ensuring that you're bringing in the best technology and processes to support your organization. So through FaaS, you get real-time financial insights. You have access to your financials. It's cloud-based. You have access to see what's going on throughout the month, as well as the month-end dashboards that really elevate your team and allow them to see where they are against budget. It provides enhanced transparency for your stakeholders. It improves compliance and risk management. And one critical piece is it grows as you grow. Having a finance partner that can grow with you is critical. As you get additional funding, having a partner that knows what's next and what's required can really take your organization to the next level.
Hey, Joyce, can I make a comment on the last
Yeah,
real quick?
absolutely.
I was just thinking, as you go through the last few slides there and the benefits, and differences between FaaS and using the software directly, I think I really want to kind of double down on one point you made, which was about adopting new features. And I just came out of a conversation with, um, a variety of Sage Intacct customers who use the software directly just yesterday. And one of the things I hear most often from them, and again, it's software that we're proud of and it's easy to use, but you've got to make the right decision for your organization. And one thing we do hear is, hey, we're a nonprofit staff, we're a lean team. Yeah, we really love the system, but we don't feel like we're getting enough out of it. We don't feel like we're able to use these features in the way we're supposed to, or we're not able to maybe take advantage of some of these things as they come out, because that does take a time investment. And we know there's a lot of different priorities and technology is changing quickly. So I love your point, Joyce, about being there as a strategic partner to make sure that your customers are able to adopt and take advantage of those capabilities through your team. Because it is a lot for the average size nonprofit finance team to keep up with.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out. It can be daunting, right? They have their mission driven tasks that they really want to focus on, and this is really an added item, that takes up a significant amount of time. And one point I want to make here is having a finance partner is an advantage in your mission fulfillment. It expands beyond your finance function, right? When you partner with BTQ, who's utilizing Intacct, every level of your organization benefits. One thing we hear from our organizations is that their program managers have accountability. They have insight into their budget. They have insight into their expenses and how that's tracking, and really allowing them to fully use that data to take their services to the next level. It also allows executive leaders to make more confident, data-driven decisions, right? They're ready for their board meetings. They're ready for their committee meetings. They're prepared to go in front of their board and ask their board to step up and further excel the mission, right? And boards have confidence in the financials you're providing, which can be huge for nonprofits, right? That's one thing we hear often, is just making sure our board and our stakeholders have confidence in the financials we're providing. So I do want to drill down into a case study that we did with one of our clients and really drill into the benefits that FaaS was able to bring them. So one of our clients is The Door. They are a New York City-based youth services nonprofit, and they became independent from their parent organization. They partnered with BTQ to rebuild their full financial infrastructure from ground up through our FaaS model. And when they brought us in, we were able to fully modernize their tech stack. We brought in all of the technology. We were able to establish clear reporting structure and deliver financial leadership. So not only do we do all of the financial transactions, we also bring in that VP CFO level financial leadership that can help drive change within your organization. So with those foundations in place, The Door was able to strengthen their financial visibility. They were able to improve audit readiness, and they were able to gain the ability to make quicker data-driven decisions. All of this equated to over $1 million in savings over a 2.5-year period. So not only is FaaS elevating your finance function, it also results in cost savings. A majority of the time, we are cost savings to an in-house team, and we are able to elevate your spend to really maximize your organization's mission. So with that, I want to wrap up with some key takeaways and just really drive the point home. So nonprofit finance is a strategic driver. It's not just back office administration. It allows your entire organization to elevate, get the information you need, and excel on your mission, and empowers leaders with real-time visibility. We know where we are against our contracts and our grants, how much we need to spend down, where we're going to finish for the year. It gives you that data-driven insight to continue to grow. We combine modern technology with our specialized expertise. So we're bringing in the human element of talent, but also that technology stack that your organization does not have to manage. To Michael's point, like we're keeping up with the latest and greatest modules and features and implementing that, and your organization is getting the benefit of that. Additionally, executive directors gain clarity into program expansion, donor relationships, and just long-term sustainability. This is something that we've seen succeed time and time again, and something that we consider ourselves experts in. And of course, we partner with Intacct to bring that best-in-class technology. So with that, we have left some time for questions. We'd love to take any questions that the audience has today or the participants have.
Thank you, Joyce. Our first question that we have, and I'll pose this one to you, Joyce. What does the FaaS or Finance as a Service implementation process require from our end? And how much of my team's time would be required for the transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are able to get our organizations up and running in 60 to 90 days. With that dedicated onboarding team, they work with a client organization to customize the technology and processes. Our team is taking the majority of that lift and that burden of setting up technology and processes. We usually ask for roughly 5 hours a week from the client's team to engage with us, to have some input on what we're setting up, and to ensure it's meeting any pain that they have. So it's a pretty small amount compared to our team kind of taking on that full implementation burden.
Thank you. And then the next question, what is the most important first step my organization should take to assess if a move to cloud accounting and finance as a service is the right fit for us?
They should reach out to our organization, and we'd love to chat with them about it. Usually we set up a 30-minute meeting where we get to know a little bit about your organization, some of the pains that you're experiencing, and kind of talk through our solution to figure out if it's a good fit for your organization.
Right. And then Michael, I think this would be a good one for you. How does Sage Intacct integrate with donor management systems to reduce data silos? And what happens if we use a tool that doesn't have a pre-built integration?
That's a great question, Allison, and I'm sure some of the folks on the call have, this is a commonality. It's the most common system that folks tend to look to integrate into their accounting, because nobody likes entering gifts, and they don't like, the what is really a separation, between your gift management process and what would be a true audit trail. So we account for that in multiple ways. And really the question is, the Sage Intacct has the technology underpinnings to integrate with most, if not any, donor management systems that are out there. So we have a variety of ways to do that. We can ingest data from export files that are pre-formatted and configured from your donor management system. We also can use what's called an open API. And we've used that open API to pre-integrate with many, many systems, which if you're curious about, you can see on Sage Intacct's marketplace. Now, if you're working with BTQ in this instance, you would really lean on them to help you decide what the best solution is for you. So that would be things like how much volume, how much transaction volume do you manage? What level of detail do you want to bring over? But the short answer would be, if you can get that out of your system, that would be your responsibility, right? Because that's the fundraising software itself, and most of them can export data. Then Joyce and the BTQ teams, can bring it into your accounting system based on your needs.
Great. And this next question, Joyce, if you wouldn't mind answering.
Sure.
Many of our programs or development managers need to access financial data but lack technical expertise. How do these tools make data accessible to non-financial users?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And that's so important for so many nonprofits is giving their program managers and directors visibility into their spend. So we build dashboards for our program managers to access, and that allows them to see the key metrics that really drive their programs. And so they get access to the system, they get access to a specific dashboard that only relates to their program. And they can see the information that we essentially align on them seeing, right? As an organization, if you say like this feels too technical for my program directors, I'd rather them see this metric, we would bring that in. So we customize the dashboards to different views and allowing those individuals to really get what they need out of the financials.
Michael, I'll address this one to you. Our biggest pain point is unpredictable grant funding and delayed reimbursements. How does cloud-based reporting or automation help us manage liquidity better?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Allison. And what a great set of questions from this group. I love it. So a couple things. I mean, if this is a question you're actively asking, then we are thinking about you and the challenges you're facing right now with some of the cash crunch that may be happening from federal grants. In terms of how cloud-based reporting helps you, get a grip on that, both in terms of cash flow and also just your overall sense of how you're performing against your grant obligations, is the rich reporting that would be available to you through BTQ that Sage Intacct can deliver. And there's a lot of things about the reporting, which is kind of why Joyce went through that slide earlier about why BTQ selected Sage Intacct as the system of record for their nonprofits. And the reality is we're the leader in financial management software for nonprofits because of the reporting we bring to the table. So the reporting in Sage Intacct allows BTQ to really advise you on whatever dimensionality to your organization you need to address. And in this case, we're talking about grants, which is great because we can do the reporting elements of grants, whether it's reporting across different grant periods that don't align to your fiscal, or capturing all the information you need to meet your statutory requirements from a documentation perspective. We have features built into Sage Intacct as well that help you be more efficient with grants, and in this case, help BTQ be more efficient in helping you manage those grants. From a cash flow perspective, I would say the same thing applies. That rich reporting and the ability to associate in the system the transactions that you have to your grants or to your programs or to both of those elements through the setup that you would do with BTQ gives you a really good sense of kind of where you stand on your cash flow from a restricted perspective, unrestricted, across the grant programs, what's allowable spend, what programs might be impacted by the current, or any delays in funding that is becoming more regular with the federal government these days. So a long-winded answer to say, the reporting that comes and the grant specific capabilities that come with Sage Intacct help the BTQ team really, really help you stay on top of that stuff. And Joyce, you probably have some thoughts to add to that.
I do. I'd love to take that even further. Like in addition to the reporting, we put in really regimented processes where we are submitting reimbursements as soon as possible in a very timely manner, in accordance to your contract. If we're able to submit a monthly, we're getting them in by business day 3. Also, when there's delays in reimbursements, we work with you to see if we can get it in advance, right? We will go above and beyond to make sure we're doing everything we can to get your organization funded. And there are times where we're able to get in advance because there's so much delays in reimbursements. So we are a true partner in helping you get to the level that you need to expedite cash flow.
And then looks like we have one last question. So Joyce, if you want to take this one. We have unique reporting needs for different grants and funders. How does the finance as a service model handle customization and compliance compared to a traditional ERP?
Yeah. So we will come in with the basics that you need, and we will customize it further for you. So, for example, we'd come in and say, hey, here's our standard reporting package. What additional needs do you foresee your organization needing? What are your compliance requirements? We'll go through your contracts and validate that compliance requirement and build out those reports for your needs. So we're always coming to you with a baseline, and then we have immense customization. We support organizations with very complex compliance requirements. And we're able to get to that reporting through Sage Intacct. And we have a dedicated reporting team. So reporting is really where we thrive, and we're able to customize for our clients.
Great. Thank you so much.